inspectorate services, and you will tell us about the status of market access for horticulture export from Kenya.
Okay, good afternoon. As you told, I'm representing Dr. Esther Kimani, who is out of the country at the moment. And I have a very short topic that is on market access requirement. I will just concentrate on issues to do with the regulation. As you know, I work with Kenya Plant Health Inspector Service and the Chief Liaison Officer. And our work is that we are a regulator. So I will only concentrate on issues to do with the regulation. That is what we do. What are some of the standards that flowers are supposed to meet during inspection? All the standards are outlined in Cap 319 of the Agricultural Export and Act, Kenyan law. And the market requirement for our flowers depend on import condition of different countries. Each country have their own limitations. Each countries have their own import conditions. And it's always wise that if you want to enter into this business, please get to consult with us so that we can tell you what are some of the standards or what are some of the requirements that is being meet. It's unfortunate you cannot be able to screen on the board, so I don't know how I will be able to explain some of the issues. You find that in the flower industry, as we do the inspection at the port, at the airport, most of the flowers go through the airport. We come across a number of challenges, and most of these challenges are to do with the pest. And you are aware that quite often, or once in a while, you get your flowers rejected. There are quite a number of other factors like diseases, but I think pests are of major concern. In this case, I will talk about roses. If it comes to roses, I think one of the pests of concern is Babesia tabaci, that is the white flies. They are quite common. We also have Fusidium, FCM, first cotton moth. When it comes to condition, some of the pests of concern, including the Liliomyza and Dingtide thrips. When it comes to Crypsophila, some of the pests of concern are the Babesia, that's white flies, and also the thrips. And I think all these are pests that are listed with the EU. So in the event that we find just a single insect, then we are not supposed to allow that commodity to proceed to the EU market, because eventually it will be intercepted. There are others, but I have just listed 3 because of the time. You find that quantities of flowers exported that were expected by KEFIS that for the year 2015, 2016. In the first quarter, that is the flowers, we are talking of about 42 million tons. In the second quarter, we expected about 43 million tons. In the third quarter, we expected like 47 million tons. And the fourth quarter, there was a bit of a decline, where we expected about 44 million tons. In total, we expected of about 177 million tons within the year 2015-2016. I know these figures may differ a little bit with what AFA may have, but these are the figures of what passed through our record in JKIA. It's unfortunate I cannot be able to show the same. What are some of the challenges during the certification process? When we are doing the inspection, we call it certification process. Some of the challenges that we have becoming across the issues of insect pest upset or outbreak, especially during the rainy season. Immediately, maybe after the rainy season, we get a lot of pest upset. And what this means is that it increases our sampling intensity. Hence, we require to do more, to inspect more, take more sample of your flowers and do the inspection. And this, in a way, it causes a bit of delay. And this is why often sometimes we keep on asking you to make sure that you make your deliveries early enough. The other challenge is interception, especially in the international market, which is quite a challenge, and which we try to overcome through regular advice and regular education of the farmers. Then there is also the issues of ecosystems. That is, rules keep on changing, especially the EU market, you are aware, we also keep on changing, and this one has been posing a challenge to our export market, especially in regard to flowers. So in conclusion, we can say that market access information is a dynamic function that keeps on changing with changes in technology. That as technology change, we also expect some issues of market to change. So market intelligence and changing preferences in different market segment is something that we need to keep on updating ourselves. Then there's a need of information sharing so that we can enhance trade in the world market. Thank you.
I'm going to call the next speaker, Jeroen Abreusen, Executive Director of the FSI, the Floricultural Sustainability Initiative. More than 20 years experience in the flower sector. He's been working for the flower auctions and later as an independent consultant. He has developed a passion for sustainable development, and since 2013 he's been heading the activities of the Floricultural Sustainable Initiative, which was founded in 2013, 4 years ago. Floor is yours, Jeroen.
Quickly, I will let you know a little bit about FSI, what it is. It's an association that is formed by its members. It's 35 members joining together. From the start, the aim was to be a market-driven initiative, and what was also fairly new, that it should also be pre-competitive with the inclusion of also a lot of other stakeholders that are relevant for our sector, because what we see is if you want to make improvements, you have to involve all the players in the supply chain. On these topics, agrochemical use, workers' conditions, climate, supply chain, we invited our members to come with projects. We got them co-funded through the Dutch Sustainable Trade Initiative, and we get going. And I think the current 4 projects that we are doing now are on these 4 topics, and we have also introduced working groups on agrochemicals, on gender, and on living wage. And I think the approach that we're taking, it always has to be ambitious but achievable. That is something that we encounter a lot in the marketplace at the moment. When you look at pesticide use, that retailers come up with lists that are not achievable for growers, especially not when they're given a time frame of 2 months or maybe end of the year. So we want to work on something that is sustainable in itself and will lead to improvements, but make it achievable. Stimulate and work together. Also there, when you have an approach, work with a multi-stakeholder approach from the start. There is no meaning in doing it later or forgetting about it. Share the outcomes and improve. This is also very important for us. An example of one of the topics is our work on gender. It's been mentioned a couple of times. Here we teamed up with, in this case, EFEA in Ethiopia and BSR to roll out their program of her project to empower women. And also there we took it a little bit further, inviting also our other FSI members to join this working group. And Partner Africa, HIVOS, her project, BSR, and KFC, and also EFEA, where we are collaborating together. We also introduced it now with Azuco Flores in Colombia. So here we can share, we can learn, and it's inspiring to use this as a platform. For our members and for some invited guests, we've organized a session coming Thursday. So this is also what we are working on as well. And I'll leave it with this so you can have a good imprint on the basket, and I'll leave it to the next speaker, please.
Speaker, Richard Fox. Do you need an introduction, Richard?
Today we've seen a pretty broad range of topics that I talked about right at the beginning that influence our supply chain. And we've heard about our updated national standard, KS 1758, and the role that KEFIS is playing to ensure that our products meet the various SPSS standards. And I'd also like to thank KEBS for the support that they've given for our industry and for Kenya Flower Council in particular over the last 20 years or so, because they've been extremely supportive and we have established an extremely good working relationship with KFC. And I'd also like to say that one of the things I've noticed over the years that with our new government, we have a much better relationship with the various government organisations, be it KEFIS, be it Kenya Standards, be it the Ministry of Trade, and there is a true relationship of cooperation. I think 15, 20 years ago it was almost adversarial. Now it's a true working relationship, public sector, private sector, and I think the result of the EPA negotiations, which took place last July, are a personification of how the private sector assisted government to reach a solution which was in the best interests of Kenya exporters, particularly horticultural exporters. And to take this to a logical conclusion, we should seek to support KS 1758 to be benchmarked through FSI and look forward to joining with KFC standard in the basket of standards meeting internationally benchmarked environmental and social criteria. So maybe next year we can stand here and see KS 1758 in the middle as well. And just as a final point, if you're KFC Silver Standard, you will automatically qualify for compliance with 1758. So all the more reason for you to join KFC. Thank you.
In this final panel on logistics, markets and market access, and of course you're going to be speaking about opportunities for market diversification globally.
We have also all the importing countries, mostly in Europe, part of the network. I am based in Brussels, and that's where we operate from. A lot of what I do on behalf of the trade of flowers and plants is actually represent interest, lobbying, advocacy, and as you've heard already many times, big topic we've been working on for many years together with Kenya Flower Council was is the economic partnership agreement with the EU. It's kept us busy. So this is just a landscape of our membership. We have 20 countries all over the world, member of the network. So I was asked to talk about market diversification. I think the next speaker will get more into the meat of the topic. I just thought I was going to give you let's say a helicopter view on the framework for market diversification. So first I will mention a few challenges and opportunities based on market dynamics, then a few lessons learned, mostly on my experience dealing with the EU market, and then some suggestions for a market access agenda for the flower industry going forward. So one of the, let's say the first fact or first challenge is that the very strong growth that was observed the last 20 years in the global flower trade has now leveled off. So the expansion of volumes and market is not what is used to be 20 years ago. So this is part of the context. So now just to conclude on a way forward and some suggestions from my side on how to go about it. I think obviously the first thing is to identify where the potential growth markets are and understand how you can best penetrate them. Then second point is being also mentioned a lot today. You need to have concerted efforts and a constant dialogue between the industry, the private operators, the industry associations like the Kenya Flower Council, and the public authorities to understand the needs and the requirements to get into new markets, and also to optimize the enabling environment for market diversification. Another important point that I just mentioned in the session before is that it's very important that you ensure coordinated management of the reputational risk of your country. When it comes to phytosanitary interceptions, sustainability, the performance of the country will be assessed and judged based on the whole country position. And then final point would be, to focus, make sure that you focus, you link export diversification also with consumption promotion in destination market. And there I was mentioning storytelling. Just to tell you again, I've said it many times, I think each time I talk in Kenya, to say how beautiful an industry you have here, how beautiful a product you have. There is a lot to do about the storytelling, about selling your products. And just as an anecdote, when we were working about the EPA in Brussels, you might remember we managed to get the duty-free back after a period of 3 months where the industry had to pay duty. One of the major arguments to achieve this was to explain in Brussels to the European institutions about the product, about the beautiful industry behind it, how many people live from it. And that was actually a very key argument to unlock the situation. So I would encourage you really over and over to tell the world about the beautiful flower industry from Kenya. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sabine. I think in your own very humble way, you've told us exactly why we need Union Fleur. Thanks so much. We go next to Mercy Achola, who will be talking with us about links with the UAE. And Mercy is the founder of Value Connect. So, Mercy, over to you.
Mike, for that introduction. Thank you to Jane and the Kenya Flower Council for this opportunity. And it's amazing about just what Ms. Sylvie has talked about in her ending remarks, because my company, Value Connect, is about telling stories. And I love flowers. I'm a consumer of flowers. And as I went about looking for flowers, I was looking for Kenyan flowers. And when I came across a flower seller near my house, they had some Kenyan flowers with them. And I was excited. And then I asked them, where did you get these flowers from? And they told me they got them from Holland. I thought, wow. No offense to the Dutch friends and partners in the house, but I thought Dubai is getting flowers from Holland. And I came and told Jane, I think there's an opportunity here to get our flowers directly to Dubai and the Middle East. And hence, I think why I'm here today. This fact about Dubai, you might wonder, what do these numbers mean to us? First, we have seen, just from the previous speaker, about a need to diversify. And I think diversification can be done through the Middle East. I don't know if we have in the house any people from the UAE. 2 weeks ago, we were at the Dubai Flower Center. I had a business forum of business people from Kenya visiting Dubai. And we found that one of the companies that is serving in the Dubai Flower Center is able to access 108 countries out of Dubai. So that is one of the potential that you can see lies in there. With 200 nationalities present, I think even as you're wondering which country to go to, you can come and sample from Dubai. If there's an industry approach in searching for these new markets, I think that is something that can be addressed together with the airlines. And then, like I said, the logistics and the cost to the consumer. If I'm in Dubai and I'm buying flowers from Holland, then I will tend not to purchase as frequently or as often as I'd like to, because I am bearing that cost of that transportation of flowers leaving Kenya to go to Holland and then finding their way again into Dubai. So, solutions into these challenges can be addressed together. Happy to hear that already there's a organization for flowers and horticulture, because the two go actually hand in hand. I should have spoken about horticulture. But I'm happy to say that in terms of the quality and the standards, because what Kenya has been doing through the EPAs, they will be able to meet a lot of the standards, because the UAE adapts a lot from Europe and from the US in terms of the quality and standards that they subscribe to. So, in a nutshell, my company Value Connect helps to connect you on business intelligence, to organize business forums, and also to help you to come and benchmark and seek these new opportunities. So if you're willing to venture into the Middle East, see me, I'll be around, I'll be happy to share a little bit more about this. Thank you.
So Matea runs the business here and in Ethiopia. She's been in the flower business and not in the flower business. And she seems to be quite an all-rounder from her background, with her degree, master's degree in organizational culture and management. That's my area. And business management, human resource management.
Also.
So we look forward to hearing a lot in 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. I'll keep it short. So thank you. So I'm Matea van Molen. I represent Royal Floor Holland, the Dutch flower auction. Thanks. So Jenna, Royal Floor Holland, last year, we started with, actually with logistical trials in June, and onwards last year we started also with the commercial trials. And I think it's good to have openness in what we have faced. But just to start, we have a strategy program running, that is the China program, and that is focusing on accessing China, and with produce from Kenya mainly, and secondly from Ethiopia. So from Africa, we started to source the required products based, of course, on the market demands. We try to ensure quality and cold chain control, and of course, this is what we do for our members. And for 2020, we have an estimation that we will have like 200 million stems from Kenya and Ethiopia going to China. We did trials. We tried to scope the market needs, and we learned from that, because we tried the more traditional markets, like the wholesale, the retail, and we started, of course, also online. And what we found out, actually, is that we had to narrow down, because when it comes to more traditional retail, the Chinese consumer, and it's quite a new market when it comes to flower and plants consumer market, is that they really buy flowers online. That's like number one. And also the wholesale market and the florists. But when we look at retail, we don't see for self-use, there's a lot of Chinese consumers buy flowers and plants in the retail supermarkets. So just to elaborate a little bit on what is on the screen now, 3 areas. We have a team on the ground in China. We started in Shanghai. We have now also a warehouse in Beijing and in Guangzhou. And we try to build the trade lane from Kenya to these 3 entries. And we are trying to, for example, Shanghai, there's 24 million people living there. So only Shanghai is a big consumer market possible. And what we are trying to do now is that we penetrate the market via the online platforms. So on the e-platforms and the subscription platforms, that is focusing directly on the consumer market. Because every Chinese that you'll see, and people who actually visited China, maybe they can recognize what you see. Everyone has a smartphone, is buying online, almost everything. What we see for where are we focusing on when it comes to segment, it's the upper middle class. That's actually quite a lot of women in the age of 25 till 40. I'm not part of that anymore. But this is the upper middle class, and they are buying flowers more and more. So this is what we have learned so far, is that we need to focus, that we need to focus on these groups, target groups. And then it's getting interesting, because we are here, of course, with the conference on sustainability, and then this is what you actually see. I'm not even sure if you can see it in the back of the room, the meeting room, but this is how they handle flowers. This is not one example, you see it everywhere. The flower markets, how they treat flowers, quality management, last mile, cooling. Jeroen van der Hulst was here from Flower Watch. He can emphasize this. This is really what you see in China, how they treat flowers. They throw with it, they don't cool it properly, and actually you see a lot of damages. So we have, you could say, this is a starting point, and we have to build from zero. That's not the case, it's going rapidly. They learn really, really fast, but we still have quite a few things to do, and I think what we see here is what in a few years will change, hopefully. But sustainability, so in a supply chain we have to do a lot, we have to invest into improve this.
So much knowledge, so much to share. Thank you so much. That was very interesting. He loves it. Now we look forward to loving you, JM. And JM is CEO of Stewart Ventures. He advises firms to commercialize and to deploy de-risking solutions. De-risking is the name of the contemporary game, isn't it? So over to you, sir.
Thank you. Now we turn this on. It's on. Hi. I was groomed on Wall Street in a firm where the fellow who built the firm, whose name is on the firm, was reputed to take his shoes off and stand on the table and smoke his cigar as he was selling his investment products, and point with his toes at the great ledgers, which in those days, when the dinosaurs were on, before computers and slides, was the way that you could talk to your colleagues. So here we are at the very end, and I wish to thank Jane for her leadership, her insight, and for the opportunity to speak last. Because it creates a burden for me to make sure that you're still around here at the end. And while I won't jump on the tables and point with my toes at your notes, I will take the liberty of suggesting a few things that I hope will be stimulating. And my mandate is to address the topic of de-risking the flower industry throughout the value chain. Let me talk a little bit about how important risk is in thinking about sustainability. And let me put myself in the shoes of growers. How many people here are growers? I'm not sure who's here. Growers. Incidentally, how many people are bankers? How many people are insurers? How many people are buyers? Fact. Banks in Kenya ignore biologicals. They don't count as collateral. 40% of CapEx is in the propagating stock, and it's not included in value when the banks determine loan to value. It's not considered collateral, 40%. Based on my team's calculations with my specialist in New York, if we could convert those biologicals into collateral, we could reduce the and we could spread out the payment for the propagating stock from, say, 90 days to 3 years, we could reduce the first year cash standing cost by 4 cents. I would love to see the Kenya Flower Council make Kenya a leader and partner in a changing flower industry, now that it already has become the silver standard, the gold standard for the industry. Let's review. What does de-risking of the flower value chain have to do with sustainability? De-risking in cultivation, de-risking in trade, and de-risking at destination, in the physical flow and in the flow of credit, are very powerful tools for creating liquidity, credit, flexibility for growers in Kenya who are buffeted by all kinds of risks and uncertainties, challenged to make strategic investments, sometimes uncertain as to whether they can get through next month, let alone whether they're going to have something that they can pass on to the next generation. Thank you, Jane.
What a way to end, huh? We've been to Europe, we've been to the Middle East, we've been to China, you took us to Australia and Wall Street. Thank you all so much.
I wrap up over and I will make absolutely no attempt to try and conclude the discussions that have taken place. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to all of you. Because we have actually gone through the walk in terms of looking at the aspirations of sustainability at different levels. That is at the global level, where we are taken through by a very powerful presentation from Richard, looking at the kind of industry guidelines that we have adopted for ourselves, and also the company standards, and very much expressed in the best practice. We have also looked at some of the initiatives that the industry has come up with, initiatives, the tools, the ways that we have worked with partners in developing these tools, and finally the recommendations, which so what is here. I have about 6 pages of recommendations that have come to us, and I will not try to go through them. What I will do is to package them in what I believe will be a very reader-friendly package by our writer, Kanyike. For today, he's been picking up all the information, and he'll package it in a form that will be, in a form that we can share it and read it, and perhaps when we come back next year, we can talk to that report and see so what has happened since today. As Richard said a bit earlier, we found a new working relationship with the government, and it is bearing fruit. We've also found a new working relationship with our stakeholders in the civil society, in the NGO world, and we are very, very happy that now we are no longer punching each other's noses, but we are working to make sure that those roses are much more acceptable than they have been. To our friends and foes, of course, thank you for keeping us on the check, and that is how come we are able to reinvent ourselves going forward. To of course, the hotel for a wonderful venue. I think they've done well. And to our speakers, thank you all so much. I couldn't find the words to say thank you. Just accept my simple thank you.